Back in Munich, Der Bomber's ruthlessness in front of goal for Bayern was gaining legendary status.
There's never been anyone like Gerd Muller. He scored goals, which is the most important thing in football. He scored so many goals that no one will ever catch him.
In the season of 1971-72, Gerd Muller scored 40 league goals, a Bundesliga record which has never been equalled. It seemed Bayern Munich and Gerd Muller's success were growing hand in hand, and goals from Der Bomber fired them to the title for 3 consecutive seasons, in 1972, 73 and 74. Internationally it had gone well too. Muller was a vital part of the 1972 European Championship side, which had reached the final against Russia.
We didn't fear the Russians. We beat them in a friendly pretty easily too.
Once again it was Gerd Muller who led the way for West Germany, scoring 2 goals in the final and ending up as the tournament's leading scorer. It was an emphatic 3-0 win and the beginning of an era of dominance on the international scene for West Germany. The crowd let their emotions be known as they spilled onto the Heysel Stadium pitch in Brussels. Gerd Muller picked up his first major international trophy.
Back then, the West German team was so good. The Russians were not on the same level as us. That game could have ended 5, 6, 7 or even 8-0.
The World Cup of 1974 would be held in West Germany, and this was the only major trophy to have eluded Gerd Muller so far. They made it through 2 group stages, where only Poland stood between them and the final. Almost inevitably, Der Bomber popped up to score the crucial only goal. For Gerd Muller, this day would prove to be one of the most important in his life. 75,000 fans crowded into his home ground, Bayern Munich's Olympic Stadion. Nerves in the West German camp were running high as they knew they were facing the stars of the tournament so far. The thought of Johan Cruyff and Holland's total football made the Germans visibly tense. The start did nothing to calm the nerves. Cruyff was brought down in the box. Johan Neeskens stepped up and the Dutch were in front. The West Germans hadn't touched the ball. The frustration was evident. They battled on though and earned a penalty of their own.
I wanted to be the world champion. We wanted to be the world champions. I wanted to win a World Cup. I didn't go there just to play. If it was just about taking part, then I couldn't care less.
Actually, we thought Gerd Muller was going to take the penalty. But then Paul took the ball and knocked it in. So we were all happy.
Breitner had brought West Germany back into the game, and it was now the Dutch who were on the back foot. The momentum was now with West Germany. The Dutch defence couldn't cope with Muller's movement, and he took his chance.
As I came forward, 3 defenders came with me. I stepped back, and they were out of position. So I fired it into the corner, and that was it.
2-1. Muller's goal had won the World Cup for West Germany.
The World Cup is the biggest thing you can win. Winning the European Championships is one thing, but the World Cup is something else.
But lifting the World Cup was to be Muller's last action in a West German shirt.
Due to problems at the Federation, Gerd Muller announced his retirement in a very emotional manner straight after that final. If there had been some sensible people at the Federation, then Muller would have played on. It was a huge loss for the team.
At Bayern Munich, though, Muller's career was still going strong.
FC Bayern is my first and second home.
In one of the most memorable games in the history of the club, Bayern faced Atletico Madrid in a replay of the 1974 European Cup final. 2 goals each for Hoeneß and Muller ensured a 4-0 Bayern win.
The day after the first match, at training, no one could walk. We were completely exhausted. It's a wonder how we could play again the next day. It was the end of the season, and we were already German champions. We were all so tired, and then we found the strength to pull ourselves together and win 4-0 in the second game, in what was one of the best games of the season, and possibly one of the best in Bayern's history.
The following year, Muller and Bayern lined up again in the European Cup final, this time against Leeds United. He continued his scoring in finals, getting the second in a 2-0 win. Muller lifted the European Cup for the second season in succession. And the following year, Bayern made it 3 wins from 3 finals when they beat Saint Etienne. They were establishing a European dynasty.
I believe that the foundations of Bayern were planted in the 70s, after Bayern won the European Cup 3 times in a row. 74, 75 and 76. There is no question that it was the most successful time for Bayern on the international stage.
These seasons of European glory were undoubtedly the finest at Bayern. And for many of his 15 years at Munich, he was the most feared striker in the Bundesliga. But eventually, in 1979, time caught up with Der Bomber.
He had a bit of bad luck with a coach at Bayern Munich who suddenly didn't want him anymore. He was getting older and not dealing with it well, not keeping up. Football had changed.
Unwanted by Bayern, Muller took the decision to make a new life with his wife in the USA, where he joined the NASL team Fort Lauderdale Strikers.
Number 15, the German bomber,
For the first 5 matches I didn't score at all. Then they said that the people wanted to see someone who could score. And when the 5th game came, at Edmonton, I scored 4 times. And then it started. Goal after goal.
Side of the box, crosses, diving, Gerd Muller, goal!
Muller was not the only star at Fort Lauderdale. The NASL often proved to be a battle of egos.
It was the first training session, and at kick-off, George Best toe-poked the ball very hard at his knee, so that the ball flew 5 metres away. Gerd was really upset about it. So afterwards, I went over to George Best to do an interview. I said, "What happened? Are you jealous of Gerd Muller?" And you know what he said?
Why should I be jealous about him? I'm a better player than he is.
It seemed to me that he feared me as the other star. He never passed the ball to me.
Best soon left the strikers, which left Muller to help himself to the goals. Back home, though, many questioned why he'd ever moved to the States.
I believe it would have been better if he had ended his career at Bayern Munich. But there were differences in opinion at the time. It was not a good time for sport when he left the club.
I don't think it was a good idea to go there. Muller was lost in America. He went with his wife and he couldn't speak English. He was all about scoring goals and playing football. And when the community wasn't surrounding him, I imagine that's where everything started to go wrong.
And here's a great chance for the Bomber. He scores!
Alienated from Bayern, the club he'd served for so long, Muller became disillusioned with the game. He took comfort in alcohol.
We met him at his toughest time. It was in the old Munich airport. And you did not need to be a great philosopher to know that he had big problems. Uli Hoeneß, Franz Beckenbauer and I discussed the subject briefly, and we decided to bring him into the office the next day.
When he came and admitted his problem and said he needed help, then we helped. We did everything that we could, from rehab to giving him the job of coaching the youth team, and then the amateur team. And now he has been a coach for 20 years. He is socially connected and secured by FC Bayern. And once again, he is a wonderful person.
So thanks to the help from a few old friends at Bayern, the great Gerd Muller will be remembered by all in his life for what he did best: scoring goals.
Nordlingen is very proud of Gerd Muller, and that was why we named our stadium after him.
The best description was from Franz Beckenbauer, who said that without Gerd Muller there would never have been this Bayern Munich.
Without Gerd Muller, I wouldn't be sitting here. We wouldn't have the Bayern Munich we have today. Without Gerd Muller, Germany would never have become world or European champions.
It's a shame. Gerd Muller should be mentioned in the same breath as Maradona, Cruyff, Ronaldinho and Pelé. There's no one like Gerd Muller.